Hello and welcome back to another Bad Movie Reviews review hosted by your two favourite imaginary film reviewers from down under.
Oh, I didn't
Jerry,
mind
how
that.
No, I'm kidding.
He actually got me for a second. I actually kind of looked at
My imaginary friend is back. It's
a bit blue.
No, if you haven't figured out what we're reviewing, it is none other. First of all, Ben and Daniel. I didn't quite say that, but
Yeah, that's right.
We are reviewing none other than John Krasinski.
Yep.
Written and directed most recent film.
Or Jim Halpert.
If. Now, if you're not familiar with John Krasinski's other work, as you said, he's Jim from The Office. He's obviously a very well-known, famous actor, but he has directed A Quiet Place 1 and 2, which were obviously
Correct.
His previous directed films, and a bit of a departure. Obviously, Quiet Place is I wouldn't necessarily say a horror, but a very thriller,
It's
suspenseful
that kind of theme, yeah.
theme.
Definitely.
Whereas this is completely opposite direction about a young girl who's going through a difficult circumstance in her life, and it's basically as if imaginary friends are real, and it goes through obviously that theme. But I don't know. I'll probably swallow my words. I wasn't. The trailers for this film are quite odd. In the sense that it almost which I like in hindsight, but I feel like it's probably been a little bit mismarketed in terms of what it deals with.
100%.
Because it watching the trailer, it just felt like, oh, it's a film about imaginary friends being real, which I get it's about. But when you look at the plot and the deeper,
The whole underlying message.
the whole underlying theme, and the major theme. It's not really underlying. It's the whole movie, but it is a very full-on movie. It's not it's not zone of interest level, like, but it's a film that really tackles some hard hitting themes, and first of all, it's got a stacked cast. You've got Ryan Reynolds obviously playing Cal. You've got John Krasinski also playing B's dad, and you've got Kaylee Fleming who played B, who was fantastic and definitely got a good career ahead of you. But like, for instance, the voice cast, you've got Steve Carell, you've got Matt Damon, you've got Phoebe Waller-Bridge, you've got Emily Blunt in there, Jon Stewart, Sam Rockwell. Like, it's a stacked voice cast. Obviously, it's not a massive workload doing voiceover. We pretty much do it here.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, look, I was probably skeptical going in. Purely
You've been skeptical all week.
Main reason why is, as I said, that the trailers didn't fully sell it for me. But also John Krasinski directing a film like Quiet Place and Quiet Place 2, which I really enjoyed. I felt like I was really interested to obviously see where it went, or what it was, focusing on. But I'm more than happy to say I've swallowed my words, and I thought this was just a really good film.
Fantastic for me.
I wouldn't say it's the best film of the year for me. I do think the one thing I will sort of start off with, it's not a negative to the film, but I do wonder where its main audience lies.
I'm so glad you said that. My first thought was like, if you're going to come over to me, like, what were your thoughts? My first one was going to be the audience. One of the first things I was thinking about really early in this film was the audience, 100%.
Yeah, because, it does have obviously your cute animals in there, like, obviously targeted towards your more kids, and it's probably definitely targeted towards the kids, but it does deal a lot with some heavy themes and of loss, friendship, growing up, and I'm happy to say this, I'd wear my heart on my sleeve. Like, I didn't have a dry eye through parts of the films. I like, and you could definitely hear people go it's interesting because which is probably a good thing, meaning that parents will get a lot out of it as well when they take their kids to see it.
I don't know what kids get out of it though. For me, it was like a PG film that was kind of tailored towards young adults to full-blown adults. It was like...
I don't think
here's a childhood theme, but this is not a kid's film.
No, like, realistically, even though I saw films when I was like under the age of 10, I don't really remember taking anything out of them. It was just the visual aspect of visual storytelling. Obviously, they get the fact out of it. They might, go buy a blue plush toy, but I think, your young teens will take something out of it about growing up and things like that for sure. But it is a bit odd. But I guess I'll touch on we can touch on obviously the good aspects. As I said, the cast is fantastic. It's probably, in my opinion, Ryan Reynolds' best performance, or my favourite performance of his. I do think he is a little bit of a one-trick pony at times, but there was emotional depth to his performance, and kind of aside, we probably haven't seen a lot of him, especially in most recent years. He obviously started in...
I agree. It had like underlying... His performance for me had underlying aspects of kind of the way Timothée Chalamet portrayed Wonka, to be honest. It was kind of like a...
Yeah, like a weird, cynical...
like this kind of like funny, the world kind of sucks, but how good we can make better, but it's kind of not... I don't know.
It was a optimist, a cynical optimist, basically.
Cynical optimist. I don't mind that.
Yeah, thanks. I'm, Pulitzer Prize winning Ben Tibb over here. But no, the cast is great, and the voice acting. Usually, I'm a bit skeptical about voice acting as well, because I do advocate for hiring voice actors. But I felt like, for instance, Steve Carell, who's probably the most prominent voice for Blue, was fantastic. Phoebe Waller-Bridge for Blossom was also really great. They're probably the main two that really take place. But I gotta give props to John Krasinski, because he did direct the hell out of it, in the sense that you could tell there was a lot of care. Obviously, he wrote it as well. There was a lot of love and care in this film. And you can tell this meant a lot to him. And it really shows, to be honest, in the film for sure. I actually think what elevated the film to that next level to me, which made it really enjoyable and actually quite emotional as well, is the score. The score was like genuinely unbelievable. It was Michael Giacchino who did it, who off the top of my head,
I suck at names, don't give me that.
Yeah, no, but like he did for instance, he's done Ratatouille, Up, The Incredibles. Like, like I got very Up and Ratatouille vibes, or like Disney Pixar vibes from it at times.
Definitely.
And I thought that really, I mean, music's music, right? Like, when you hear, like, it can make you emotional just hearing certain, chords and strings being played. But I thought that really was fantastic. But no, I thought the overall plot, I do think there is there was some subplots and things like that where it didn't really get into too much, which I thought could have probably potentially elevated the film a little bit more. There are a few things that weren't really dealt with, or they didn't show that path for subplots. But overall, I thought the main plot was something really wholesome and emotional and really charming. It is a very charming film. It gave me like Paddington vibes, just like wholesome, emotional, that I think everyone, as I said, you summed it up perfectly, like maybe preteen, young 8-year-old, probably maybe 10 and above.
To nearly...
To like, my mum would love it. Like,
my mum would love this.
It's something I would recommend to majority of people, because I think a lot of people would take something out of it. It has a lot to say about growing up, releasing that inner child.
Bit of grief in there.
Yeah, for sure. And I really did enjoy it, and I got to give props to John Krasinski, because he obviously was the man behind it all. And he did an extremely good job here.
Along the board, acted, directed, written, just fantastic. We were on the way home, and I just wanted to like say it to you, but I was holding it in. But like, I knew you knew I enjoyed the film anyway, but I was just kind of sitting in. I really just wanted to go, oh, I really enjoyed that. That was good. Like, I had this kind of like grin on myself. Like, for me, which complete sidetrack to this, but I've been really involved in a lot of like coaching related things for personal development for myself, and having like this as another object to be like emotionally connected, but also intellectually. And I was like, that hits right. There's a lot I can get out of this, and there's a lot I could use for myself to better myself or be more honest. And I felt like the movie made me feel like I need to be more honest. And I was like, okay, that's good. That made me feel good about it.
Man, I don't want to get like too sappy, but that's genuinely why I love, and probably why we're doing this. We obviously love talking about movies, and you watch a film like this, and it might not be the best movie ever, but like it can make you empathize. It can make you feel things, and it's like that's like not many films can do that, and that's why I just give major props. It could have been, as I said, in my opinion, like a genuinely fantastic young adult film with those like subplots, I guess, more delved into and like, you know, it might have gotten a little bit more interesting in that aspect because it felt like there was things brought up, but then they didn't come to a resolution.
Definitely had room for growth.
Yeah. But like taking it at face value is what it is. I had a really good time. I was not cheering at the end, but like I was like, this is quite emotional. Like it is hard hitting.
I may have let out a tear or two. It was a bit more than I thought it was going to be. To be honest, it was. That is my second movie, nearly. I reckon in the last 10 years is actually
Madam
a
Web.
bit teary.
That
made me cry for different reasons.
Yeah, terrible. But no, like, and that's the thing. Like, you know, you can watch. That's why I feel like maybe I'm really interested to see. Obviously, the general. We're lucky enough, thanks to Paramount, to see this earlier. I am kind of interested to see the general consensus and like the public's opinion on it because, you know, you look at the poster and you see Ryan Reynolds walking across a crosswalk, like a crosswalk, zebra crossing with the girl and these imaginary creatures, right?
Yeah.
And I got to give props as well to that. It is a very creative film, some of the designs and the artistic. 100%. There's a certain sequence in it which was really creative and I thought he directed the hell out of it and you probably know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
I'm interested to see because, like, you look at that poster and you look at the trailer, and it does think like, you know, there is someone like my mum who would go, "I'd take my grandkids to that," but it's like it's not.
Yeah, and that's really our disclaimer kind of here is this is probably not a kids' film. It is definitely tailored for someone who can probably have a little bit more of an emotional understanding.
Yeah. It's someone who has a bit of emotional,
maybe
intelligence, really.
Yeah, started maturing. You know, you start maturing at a very young age, but.
It's not to say they're not going to, kids aren't going to enjoy it.
Lots of pretty colours and cool creatures.
Yeah, correct. But that's why I'm interested, I guess, in a couple of weeks' time, maybe to track back and look at what the go is with that side of things, because I am interested. But man, I'd recommend this film to most people, and I'm sure 95% of them that I recommend it will take something out of it, will enjoy it, might shed a tear. It's a really, really good time. In saying that, it obviously is quite depressing, but it is it is a film I can get behind and definitely recommend. It's not often you go into a film and get surprised the other way. It's usually you go into a film and it's usually the opposite end where you go, well, that was, not great. So
I think for most people, but you know me, I'm very cynical when it goes into it. I'm like, this movie is going to be very average. And I'm like, man, that'll be my movie of the year.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to have, obviously, preemptive thoughts because it can ruin the experience. But I just didn't know with this film. I just was like, it's just, I don't really know what to
It's the soul, don't judge a book by its cover kind of thing, this one, definitely.
Yes. Yeah. You got me there. I was going to say something and I didn't know where my train of thought was going. But no, I would recommend seeing it. Yep. Once you see it, or if you're watching this review, comment below, let us know what you think of the film. Like the video, as it does do a lot for us, and subscribe for more, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.